Okay, so Chapter 5 starts with basic interest computations. For all of Chapter 5 problems, basically you're going to need a calculator. So we have some formulas here. So the simple interest formula is how much formula is generally calculated when you borrow something in a simple situation where you just pay back interest based on how long you borrow it and the rate of interest. I is interest, P is principal, the amount you borrowed or has been borrowed, R is rate, T is time. Now if you want to apply that to the future value, if you borrow a certain amount of money and you owe a certain amount of interest, the total of the amount of money you have to pay back is the original amount you borrowed plus the amount of interest, which if you distribute the P to this equation, it's principal plus PRT, which is the interest formula. But they do P times 1 plus RT. So we're just going to practice calculating what some of these are. So be prepared to use your calculator. And one thing to note is T is always in years. You can either use 360 or 365 days a year. It doesn't make a huge difference either way. I'm pretty sure your homework has you use 365. I gotta look at it as business. There's 30 months or 30 days in a month, and business in 360 days a year. But do whatever they say to do on the homework. If they say something different, it'll be close to the same answer, like decimal points off otherwise. So if you have the principal is borrowed at a simple interest rate for a period of time T, find the simple interest owed for the use of money. Assume 360 days a year, round answers to the nearest cent. So you borrow $1,000 at 6% interest for 2 years. Now I equals PRT. So in this case, the interest equals 1,000 times 0.06, so your rate goes in decimal form, times 2. And then you just put that on the calculator, and you should get $120 of interest. P equals 5,000, R equals 12%, which is not a great interest rate. T equals 6 months. So here when we do I equals PRT, we know that our interest is $5,000 is what we borrowed. Our rate is 0.12. Our T, 6 months, don't use 6. It's really half a year, 6 out of 12 months. So you multiply those together and you get $300. And I'll leave number 3 for you. Okay, so you buy a 10-year bond with semi-annual interest payments. The bond costs $17,351 at a rate of 5.158%. Find the total value of the interest and the semi-annual interest payment. Okay, so you bought a bond for $17,351. The bank pays you back. To find the total value of the interest, let's see how much interest payment you're getting each time. Okay, so if it's a semi-annual interest payment, then let's talk about what these all mean. How annualness. So annually is once a year. Semi-annually is twice a year. Quarterly would be 4 times a year. Monthly would be 12 times a year. Now, that doesn't mean you pay the rate percentage every time. It means that rate is divided up over a certain number of months. So if you want to find the total value of the interest, then we can simply look at the 10-year bond and the rate to find the total amount of interest. So the total amount of interest is the $17,351 at the 5.158%, which is 0.05158 for 10 years. So finding the total amount of interest is easy, assuming a simple situation, which is what we're doing here. So we have 17,351 times 0.05158 times 10. And for this, we get the total amount of interest is $8,949, and you always round to 2 decimal places, so 65 cents. Now, the interest payments are split up over semi-annual payments, so 2 payments a year for the 10 years. So that's twice a year for 10 years, so that's 20 total payments of interest. So I need to take that to figure out the semi-annual payments and divide by 20 to get $447.48 every 6 months. So this is the total, and this is the semi-annual payments. Okay, future value questions. Find the future value of the loan of $17,351 at a rate of 9.1% for 103 days. So this is the A equals P times 1 plus RT formula. So in this case, our future value is equal to $17,351 times 1 plus our rate, 0.091, times our time. So 103 days over 360. And again, it just goes in the calculator. Make sure your parentheses are in the right spot. And again, just like we did months divided by 12 months a year, we have to do days divided by the total number of days a year in order to get this answer. Looks like we've got the total future value is $17,802.75, which is our original amount plus, I mean, it's a 9% interest rate, but we're only borrowing for less than even 4 months, so it's not going to accumulate that much. Looks like it went up about $450 total, which isn't too much.